Welcome to episode 18 of the Monsters of Geek podcast. In this podcast, we will be discussing all the big video game news for the past couple weeks here. As if you're just joining us, we're trying a new format where we kind of break down each section into each week. We can talk about it a little bit more in depth and not feel so rushed to try to get all this news in, because the geeky news cycle can get pretty hefty if you're if you're not careful. So hopefully this will be a little bit better for you guys to listen to. With me today, of course, is we are the new fabulous freebirds of the internet. We have Daniel back and Jared back to talk about some Vizio games. What's up, guys?
Hey man, how's it going? Good to be here again. This is my third in the row, by the way.
Daniel must really like us, man, because he keeps coming back. So,
well, it's. I mean, the fame has gone to my head at this point, right? I mean,
right.
People
You're
are stopping me on the street.
Go ahead.
People are stopping me at the street, stopping me in court. It's like, wait a second, I've heard your voice before. It's like, yes, you have. So I can't stop now.
Jared's used to my buffoonery, so he just kind of shows up and keeps me in check. So.
Yeah, occasionally I'll just have to cut him back down to size. He's used to it by now.
I don't have an ego when Jared's around. He takes a little pin and pops it every time it gets a little bit too big. So where's Joe and Andrew? I don't know where Andrew is. I texted him. I don't know where he's at. Joe is showing his PC elitism and is putting a new video card in his PC tonight. So he's sitting on his throne and working on his PC tonight. So as I extend my pinky out in salute.
That can be complicated too. So.
Yeah, it can be, But
hey, what?
It's complicated.
I changed the hard drive on my PlayStation one time.
What'd you say, Daniel?
I said I changed the hard drive on my PlayStation one time, and that was a little more difficult. I had to unscrew a screw and everything.
Oh,
and it scared me to death. So.
Oh. I had to. I've refurbished a couple Nintendos. I had to put and that's a little bit hard. It's not necessarily hard to do. It's hard to keep up with all those darn screws. Like, you don't know if you. I literally had them in quadrants. Like, quadrant 1 is on the outside. Quadrant 2 is the shell I have to take off, because if not, you mess up one of those screws, it messes the whole thing up. So,
Yeah, I remember. I think you told me you were putting one together, and you come back and there was like a screw left over.
Yeah, it wouldn't go. You had to the spring mechanism. I missed a screw or something, and I put the wrong one in, and it would not. So I had to take it all back and do it again. So. Just, you got to keep, listen, if you refurbish Nintendos, just keep your screws in like little plastic bags and mark them. If you do that, you can do it. It's not that hard. So.
In all seriousness, I did take apart my PlayStation like a few months ago, like to replace thermal compound. Like, that's something that was recommended on the internet because my PlayStation was running really hot. And so I took it basically apart all to the motherboard, and that was a lot of fun, actually. I could see how putting together a computer or taking it apart would be a lot of fun. So
computers are pretty easy to get together. Most of the pieces are just have one place to go. I mean, besides getting like the fan and the power pack in there, everything else is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
And all you PC guys that's yelling at us and say, it's not easy, Jared, you can send hate mail to...
My work, the PCs I have to deal with at work are very easy to deal with.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that.
But they're just the standard, HP, so it's not a... what is the Elite?
Computer?
Yeah, what is the Alienware computer or anything? Yeah, I've never opened one of those up or put the water cooling system in, which
dude, those water cooling systems are pretty awesome.
I did have a friend that did that, so
I'd be too nervous, man. I'd put like goldfish and stuff in mine. I'd really go all out, just put stuff in there and be like, oh yeah, carrying that thing around in a big bag to LAN parties and stuff.
It'd be like the
and all the kids are like, what's a LAN party?
They don't have LAN parties anymore.
Listen, all you youngsters out there, Joe had LAN parties with us when we played Halo and stuff. LAN parties, when before the internet became the internet, you just hooked up all this stuff in the one router and you could all connect up and you was like playing online, but you was all in the same room. Kind of like Pokemon Go, but you stay inside, kind of. So
Yeah, most of those people didn't see the light of day.
That's true, including myself, but not because of Pokemon. But
Well, that's because the sun.
listen, tan by Nintendo, baby. All right, so let's move on from our from our crazy chatter to begin this episode. Let's look over some key releases right quick, just to kind of throw out some, hey, you got something you bored this week. This is some cool new stuff coming out. So for the week of July the 18th, you're looking at Star Trek Beyond, being released by Paramount, PG-13 on that, starring Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Simon Pegg, Zoe Saldana, Carl Urban, and then of course directed by Justin Lin from Fast and Furious fame. The plot of the USS Enterprise crew explores the furthest reaches of uncharted space where they encounter a mysterious new enemy. Guys, did you like the Star Trek? I liked the first. I didn't see the second one, but the first one I thought was really good. I'm not a big Star Trek fan. Are you kind of stoked for this one, or are you just just another Star Trek movie?
I'm excited. Go ahead, Jared. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I watched all the original movies. I mean, I've never sat down and watched the original series. I watched some of Next Generation and Deep Space Nine on and off. But I really enjoyed what they did with the first Star Trek, and I even like Into Darkness. I know a lot of people hated on it. I think those were mostly Star Trek fans, but
How dare they?
Yeah, but from what I saw of it, I mean, I enjoyed both of them, and from what I hear, they say that this one really puts the franchise back on track. I think IGN gave it like an 8 or something like that.
Good.
So I probably won't go see it in the theater, but
of course not.
I'll definitely watch it when it comes out on Blu-ray.
I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'm like you guys. I was a Star Wars kid growing up, so I didn't really get into Star Trek, but I knew enough about Star Trek to appreciate like the first movie, and I thought the first movie they did a great job on, and the second one, it was good and I enjoyed it, but I understand why it got some of the criticism that it got. I guess my only fear is that I'd really like to see this movie do good because I think they're good movies and I think they can be a really good franchise. But I'm kind of a little scared that people were turned off by the second one and maybe don't want to see this one. I'll be interested to see how well this one does, money wise. But I would like to go see it in the theater if I can.
Well, the first one, me and Daniel, the whole crew went out. I remember one. It was.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was me and you, and of course McGill's a big Star Trek fan, so he was. He left there like I did after Wolverine Origins. Like he didn't like it at all. And here we are, like Star Trek newbies or whatever. Like we're all big stars. Oh man, that was an awesome movie. He's like, man,
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised he didn't like it. I will say this: I will give the first movie a lot of credit. They actually kind of made sense with time travel.
Mm-hmm.
It actually kind of made sense, like how they kind of did it. Because usually, if you get into time travel, if you're used to reading X-Men comics, you have no clue where the heck they're at. You have no clue how they did it. It's just a mess. So I thought J.J. Abrams did a really good job with the whole time travel thing.
I thought it was neat that they did it like that, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I think where a lot of fans haven't liked the series is because it's kind of like if it's a retelling of if it had a different origin point. I think we've talked about that before. This is set in basically one dimension, and if it had been done differently, then this is the way it would have happened. And
right,
because Khan is completely different, and I love the Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2, or is it 3?
I thought it was 3.
I think it's 2.
I'm not even qualified to be commenting on either.
I think 3 is the search for Spock. But anyway, but I really liked it. I like the way they you start out, so automatically now you have a new starting point instead of having to stick to this old set of guidelines.
See, that's all they have to say when it comes to doing like a reboot. It's a different universe, guys. Just chill out. This is like Earth 2 Star Trek or whatever. That's an easy way to get out of things. All right, so that's the only big movie coming out is Star Trek Beyond, so go check that out. Video games, not much. we've got Ark Survival of the Fittest, which is it's already out on Xbox One and PC. Looks like maybe, I don't know if it's a free-to-play game. I didn't really find much on it, but it looked pretty cool. It looks like definitely a competitive shooter. That comes out for the PS4. Neverwinter, which is a MMO that has been released on Xbox and PC as well, comes to the PS4. That's by Perfect World Entertainment and Cryptic Studios. And then the one I'm really stoked about is I Am Setsuna for the PS4. This is published by Square Enix. This is their first project out of the Tokyo RPG Factory. This was talked about in E3 2014, or was it last year? 14, I think.
I think
It
it's
basically
14.
throws back to like Final Fantasy VI,
Chrono Trigger.
Some of those classic Super Nintendo type of RPGs and PS1 RPGs. We talked about how much we all love the RPG. Daniel, you pretty stoked about this because it looks really, really awesome. Looks really gorgeous.
It looks really good, and the previews. There's no reviews yet, but the previews have been positive, I would say. The only thing, I mean, I'll get your opinion on it. The only thing that I'm a little bothered by is that it's a digital only right now, and it's pretty expensive digital game, at $39.99. So just for me personally, I'm probably not going to pick it up right away. I don't know about what your guys' opinion is on it, but
I'm kind of the same way. I kind of wish this was for the Vita, and I'm kind of hoping that they port it to the Vita. As much as I want to play it, I'm really stoked about playing it. I have learned that playing RPGs the best way is on the Vita, no matter what system you're playing it off of, whether it be PS1 Classic, whether it be a new one like Persona 4, whatever, or the remake of whatever, the HD remake, I guess would be Persona 4. Yeah, I'm really stoked. I just wish it was going to come on the Vita, and I'm sure at some point, maybe it'll come to the Vita, at least not necessarily a physical copy, but it is very weird that for $39.99 you're not getting a physical copy, because that's pretty. That is the price for $60 games, digitally, and that does have a physical release attached to it. So it's interesting. It looks really, really cool, but I'm with you, Daniel. I don't know if I want to jump on it day one.
Yeah, I really like the style of it. It did remind me of the Final Fantasy games, and even the gameplay and a lot of things on there I really liked. But not being just being the digital copy, which I didn't know, but now hearing that, I hesitate anytime to get anything digitally because you never know what's going to happen with your system, or I'm sure I've not been through that with PlayStation customer service about, downloading the copy again or anything. So I don't know how forgiving they are, but I know, Aaron went through that battle with iTunes once before, and they reprimanded
I went through that
it.
battle with Microsoft with my Xbox 360 too, and guess what? I traded it in because they were nincompoops.
Yeah, see, I mean,
PS3, and I haven't had an issue, so.
Yeah, I mean, you never know how people are going to act, but I would much rather have a physical copy to hang on to rather than just that digital.
Well, I think and I'm you talk about physical media. I mean, I've got shelves full of old games and action figures still in their packages and all that stuff. So I'm all for physical media. In fact, that's my preferred, entertainment, I guess, is to get the physical copy of something. I just feel like, we talked about it last week, the Vita has become completely digital for me. I don't want to carry all these cases. I don't want to keep up with those tiny little games that are, they're like little Ninja Turtle toys. Like, you're going to lose them at some point. It is what it is. So digitally, as far as a portable, I'm totally okay with that as far as digitally. But I just don't understand, especially for the big systems, if you're not going to put it out, for a handheld, you should have a physical copy if it's $40. Just personal opinion.
Yeah, I think so too, especially at that price.
All right, so let's move on from that. And let's see. So I Am Setsuna will be out. That's probably the biggest release for this week.
Can I throw in just one more point on that?
Go.
One thing I was going to mention to you too. You were talking about wanting to play RPGs on your Vita. I use remote play a lot. I don't know if you've messed with it, but
I guess I could do that.
I mean, like mine works really well, especially on my Vita. Like I've been playing Valkyria Chronicles, almost exclusively on my Vita, just because I like the remote play feature. So that's just throwing that out there.
I'll have to try it out, man. I've we'll get to what actually we're gonna get to that next. While I won't be tackling another RPG for a while. But yeah, people's told me, especially with the PS4, they say it works really well. The PS3 not so much. They said there's some
Yeah.
stuff going on there, but PlayStation 4 it works really good. I meant to try Uncharted. I might actually just fool around with it tomorrow to see what it's like. But I had a friend that said, "Hey man, he has a PS TV, and he said, man, I've been playing Destiny from that for forever. And he said it works really well. Not a lot of lag or anything with it. So I'll have to check that out. Darn you, Daniel. Darn you. You'll make me spend money, man.
Well, I mean, I like it. I like it.
All right. So this will be a feature just like we will everywhere else. But in this episode, we're going to do what have we been playing this week, whether it be apps, whether it be one of our consoles, a Vita, whatever it may be. Daniel, we'll start with you, man. What we've been playing this week?
Well, I just today I got my platinum trophy in Valkyria Chronicles.
Nice.
Which I don't know if you guys have a lot of experience. Have you guys played that game before?
I had the PS3 version and I just bought the PS4 version, so I haven't played it yet.
I had the PS3 version. It's one of the first PS3 games I bought, or it was close, but I never got around to playing it. Like
Same here.
I just didn't have time. But when the PS4 version came out, I was like, okay, I'll try it, and I've really, really liked it. It took me about, I probably put 45 hours in it, but I really enjoyed it. And that game, didn't sell very well on PS3. Came out on Steam. What, like a few months ago?
It was a few months ago, and that was kind of I guess it was kind of the testing the waters if this would actually work with a re-release on a big console.
Yeah, and it did great.
Yeah.
It did wonderful. It was like the top-selling game for a while, and I think I read a stat today that they had sold, 800,000 digital copies,
That's
through
ridiculous.
Steam. Something. I mean, it was ridiculous. So it kind of tells you what a cult following that game had, and just like almost like word of mouth. From its original release to now, but that game is due all the credit it got. It was a blast to beat and to play. I would recommend it if you all get time.
Yeah, that was one of the games that when I was looking for PS3, like kind of hidden gems, that one was number one on everybody's list. Like it didn't get played a lot. It had kind of a low print run. I found it. Where did I find that one at? Actually, G2K. I got it on sale. One of our local stores here, and they finally, even on GameStop. I mean, it's hard to find. Like it's even on PS3, it's really hard to find a copy. So as soon as the PS4 came out, I chalked it in my trade drawer and picked up the PS4 version for. I'm all for HD remakes, guys. It makes my life a lot easier. It clears the shelves a little bit more. I just like them. Jared, what have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Tiger Woods 12.
Oh, look at that. Jared throwing it back, man.
Yeah, I got to play a couple rounds actually this week. It's something that I can pop in and play, 30 minutes at a time, knock out a round, and give the kids back the TV or while Robin's working until, we decide to watch an episode of something. So I enjoy that though, and sometimes it gets challenging, it gets frustrating, but I think it's still fun to play. I've yet to find the new one or get the new one because I think this one had the best reviews out of the ones on the PS3. So I picked it up about 2 years ago and have just been playing it since.
I think with sports titles like that, man, you have to find the best one and kind of stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite from that era is 03. I still have my 2003 Tiger Woods for the GameCube. That's my Tiger Woods game. I played the crap out of that game, and I was so excited. Maybe the most excited. I got it for like $2. I was giddy. Like Joe was like, "What's the matter?" I was like, "Dude, I just found Tiger Woods 2003." And then he got giddy because we used to play it all the time. So ain't no shame in that, man. That's awesome.
No.
Yeah,
I think one of the reasons I wanted it was just because you get to play Augusta National.
Right.
And I think on all the ones before it wasn't on there.
You are correct.
Yeah, and then they've got like the Masters mode where you replay some of the moments. The Phil Mickelson shot on 11 where he's shooting out of the trees and gets it with so many feet of the cup, and just a bunch of stuff like that.
Does it still do the heartbeat thing when you hit a good shot?
No,
Oh
now it does
man,
the heartbeat thing like when the pressure's on,
yeah.
when you're going for a eagle or something, and you're bringing your controller back to putt, and all of a sudden your meter disappears, and you're like, oh crap, you start panicking.
On 03, usually when you hit it and you knew it hit it good, it would go in like this cinematic mode. It's like doo doom doo doom doo doom, and they go doom, doom, and you either got a hole in one, or you got really close. And we'd all kind of pause because it was always me and Jared, or not Jared, me and Joe, Brad, Phillips was Jared's cousin, and Ned.
Yeah.
Used to play. Ned was in love with that game, man. Like he would play it like religiously with us. I mean, one time we had he had all the guys down for like when he was in youth group, and we played that for hours. We didn't go to bed like 3 o'clock in the morning playing Tiger Woods 03. So, and Ned's not a gamer. Like Ned is the furthest thing from a video gamer you could probably get. But man, he loved that game. So,
Well,
golf brings people together. Okay, Tiger
well,
Woods separates families, but golf brings people together. Okay.
one of the coolest things is, like if you hit a good shot on a par three, or even a par five, anytime you get near the cup, the crowd starts roaring a little bit. Or after, like, I think I just hit like a 60-foot putt the other day, and I want to get up like Happy Gilmore and dance around the living room. That's the way I feel after doing something like that.
Man, I wonder. I've always wondered if other people were like that. I guess you guys are, but I still play Madden '06 and let's see, I think it's MVP Baseball '05. Like I still play those games, like both on PS2. I guess I really got into those, so they feel good, they feel right, and like I never really enjoyed other Maddens after that because this isn't like '06, I miss '06, and so
I
yeah.
think it's I mean, as far as a group of my friends, Daniel obviously plays older sports games. Jared plays older sports games. The last sports game that I really liked was NCAA Football 2014. I still have that one because that's the one I play the most. But I have '03 Tiger Woods, which is one of the few sports games. I got Madden '95 for the Sega Genesis because that was one of my favorite Maddens. And then our buddy Reed, who also writes for the blog, he played, was it Major League Baseball, the show, was it '04 forever, and he had a PS2, and he played that game forever. And he finally texted me, I guess maybe 6 months ago, and was like, hey man, how good is Major League Baseball 2K14 or whatever the last one was before everybody quit, before they quit making baseball games? I was like, it was okay. I'd probably stick with the PS2 version, but it's okay. It seems like it's becoming more common, somebody just sticking, to a certain year because that's the year that you like the most. So
I think I've still got I got it about 2 years ago. Whenever the World Cup was, I got FIFA 12, I think,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I'm not gonna upgrade just because I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I enjoy playing. I enjoy watching. I don't keep up with the major league, but like anytime the tournaments come up and stuff, I sit down and I'll watch as many matches as possible. And then you kind of get the fever, and you're like, oh, I need to go back and play FIFA again. So I do that with a lot of the older games.
I do that with NBA games a lot. Like I watch the playoffs, and luckily, the PlayStation Network just put the new one for free, so I downloaded that on my PS4. So
Oh
I
wow.
suck at it. I don't know what happened between this year and last year's. Woo, I'm terrible. Like I can't do anything on that game.
That the 2K
Yep.
16 they
Yep.
put on for free. Wow.
Yep. All right. So yeah, what have I been playing? I have been playing Persona 4 Golden. I am addicted to this game. If you don't know what Persona 4 is, which if you listen to this podcast, you probably do, but basically it's a wacky JRPG, basically a murder mystery JRPG. And it's got some crazy cast of characters. It looks awesome. The menus look amazing. The music is amazing. It's got that Japanese weirdness where there's some things that make you a little bit unsettled a little bit when you go through it. That weird Japanese culture, but yeah, it's really good. It's a turn-based RPG. It's more of like a social, I'm almost like call it a dating sim, but it's definitely a social sim, I guess. That has parts of that in it. If you're not a fan of RPGs, one of the things that I found that I really like about this game is it's kind of contained. You can't get lost. There's not much that you can like in Final Fantasy VII. There's times where I just got lost. I get lost in games all the time if they're too big. Persona 4, it feels like I'm never, like I know exactly where I'm going. I know exactly what I got to do. It gives me a set things. You can get a job to earn money. And then the big thing outside of, the world you go into to fight, really there's no, I guess you could grind. I've been grinding a lot. I think I'm almost 20 hours in. I'm on level 30 at this point. So, I've been trying to go back and, when you beat the main boss, you can go back to their stage and beat the second, there's another like powerful boss, but not necessarily the main boss, that you can go back through and kind of grind some levels. But the big thing, you have these social links, and you can go hang out with people, or you can do certain activities, and your social links grow, and it affects your persona, which is like this spirit thing that comes out that fights for you. It's really cool. It's really well done. Really smart. Dialogue is great. I know that Andrew is a big fan of it and kept trying to get me to do it. Way back, Giant Bomb did one of the first quick or playthroughs of it I've ever seen. I think I like halfway up and I can't remember any of it, but it was really funny. Daniel, you're a big fan. It's just a great game. It's a really, really good JRPG.
Yeah, and I played it. See, I beat it back on PS2, and then played it again on the Vita. And the Vita version is obviously the definitive version. I mean, they added a lot and made it a better game. But gosh, that is such a great game. Makes me want to play it again. how far along are you without I guess without
without any
spoiling for anybody
spoilers, I'm
else?
past the bathhouse.
Got it. Okay.
So at least the initial, well, the character that you have to fight the initial run through there.
hmm
I really struggled, not with the first boss of the first house, even though I think I died once. But this house was easy, and when I was looking through, I didn't look up FAQs, but I was trying to figure out what some of the stats meant, some of the abbreviations and stuff, and I was just trying to figure out some of the nuances of the game while I knew what I was doing. And one of the guys was like, "Oh man, you've got to, you've really got to be jacked up to go into that second one." And I'd run into a bunch of gold gloves. I mean, like,
hmm
I don't know if one of my personas have like luck to it or something, or what the deal is, but you got these little golden gloves that run around. They're packed with experience and money, and I ran into about 6 of those in that thing, and I skyrocketed, and I had
Yeah.
no issue. Like, I don't think I even died in the battle. Like, it was just boom, 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 I was done.
hmm Yeah,
But
I do. That's such a good game. That's one of the reasons I'm so looking forward to Persona 5. But I don't know. I mean, they have it for PSP, but Persona 3 is worth playing as well. I mean, it was really good.
well, I thought about it. It seems like Persona 3 and 4, they said they kind of got away from the main series, and they kind of started doing their own thing. Like, it didn't pick up as much, and it started kind of making their own characters and making kind of standalone stuff. So I thought about, they do have I guess Persona 3 FE or whatever. I guess the re-release they did on the PSP. That I thought about. It's still kind of expensive, even from digital download, but it's really good. I like JRPGs. If you're not a big fan of JRPGs, I think this is perfect for you because it's just really good. It's really smart. I think it's rated mature, if I'm not mistaken. It may be teen.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I think
they're all mature. Yeah.
except for the first one. First one was KA, and then it took like a
Really?
dark turn. I read the whole history at one point of Persona series, and the second one was teen, and all the rest of it has been mature from there on out, I think. But yeah, go pick that up if you have a Vita or a PlayStation TV or whatever. It's I can't say enough about it. It'll probably become one of my favorite games of all time once I'm finished. As far as it continues to grow on me, I think it probably will. So it's really good. All right, enough of my Persona 4 babbling. Let's move on to the news.
We'll probably be talking about it next time too.
Probably, because I'll still be playing. I'll try to play something else. I think I really want to try to beat Super Castlevania 4 this week. I've been really want to play it, so I'll probably pop that in and see. Maybe I'll have something different to talk about. But all right, news. It's been a week for Nintendo. What a week it's been for a company that a lot of people, for so long, it says dead. They're out of touch. Nintendo's going to go away. Yada 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 yada. Nintendo's back in a big way, and they really never went anywhere. But Pokemon Go. We'll start with the first thing that week. Pokemon Go is worth $29 million as of, I think, last Tuesday or whatever it was. What was this, Thursday or Friday? $29 million for an app game. No ads, from what I understand. Just an amazing feat for Nintendo, especially for a company that a lot of people say are out of touch. they're back in touch with $29 million in the bank account. It was also announced at San Diego Comic-Con they had them in a small 500-seat room for Comic-Con for the developers. They moved them to the legendary Hall H because they could not feel the, they overflowed. Everybody wanted to be there. Supposed to be some special Pokemon exclusive Pokemon Go stuff going on there as well. And then of course Legendary Pictures is in talks of Nintendo to do an actual Pokemon Go movie based on the app. I don't know about that one. Just like I'm not sure about a Tetris movie or a Tetris trilogy. I'm sorry, that they're putting out. Guys, man, what a and of course we didn't touch on the classic edition that was announced. They also announced that the Nintendo Classic Edition, which is going to be a mini Nintendo that's going to have 30 games built into it. Some of the classic games built into it, and a pretty good list of games. We'll kind of talk about that a little bit more in depth. But guys, how far can Pokemon go? Well, how far can Pokemon Go as far as popularity and continuing? Do you think it's going to plateau, or do you think this thing just keeps going up and up and up and up?
I mean, it's going to plateau eventually, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to get bigger before it gets smaller. I mean, especially with all the publicity. I mean, I can't get on the internet without seeing a meme or some kind of story about it. And it's obviously fun. People are enjoying it. They wouldn't play it if they weren't enjoying it. So, I mean, I think it's going to continue to make money for them, and good for them. But it will definitely go down eventually, maybe in a few months. But I mean, it's been pretty amazing. It really has.
One of the things that I found most interesting is that I don't know if it's released fully across Europe yet.
No, it's not, and they had to delay it in Japan because hackers.
Yeah, I mean, wait till that thing hits Japan. I mean, talk about the people in America loving Pokemon, but the people over in Japan, I mean, that's what it was built for.
Right.
So, I can see it. I can see it skyrocketing. The game maybe, double in value once it is finally fully released everywhere. So I can see it continuing to take off. I think it'll plateau here in the U.S. Eventually, and maybe in a couple weeks or a month or something like that. It'll hit that point, and people will slowly, taper off playing it. But once it's in Japan, I think you'll see their stock jump up again.
Yeah, it's amazing this game hasn't been released in Japan yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the first.
Because when I thought about it, I thought, man, that's a lot of users. They had to put this in Japan. And when I read it, I was like, whoa. Like, Japan's like the biggest Pokemon. I mean, we're huge. I mean, the United States, I mean, it's been made a lot of money over there for over here for Nintendo. But over there, holy crap. Like, it created a whole different genre, and it's still the best one in that range, or in that genre. So, I mean, it's amazing to me that there's going to be so much more people. I mean, I don't know how much this thing is going to be worth by the time it's released. I think they pushed it back. Like, Japan's not getting it until the end of this month.
Wow.
So it's been pushed back a pretty good way. So you're looking at another, I mean, millions of users to go on with this. And just in the United States, 29 million. Listen, at this point, they could make the NX a walking robot that, throws poop at you or whatever, and it's still, be Nintendo and still be millionaires,
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable because I mean, Nintendo was essentially dead in the water before E3. I mean, or that's what everybody was saying because they announced that they weren't bringing the new console. They weren't even going to talk about it, and everyone kind of forgot about them. And then they come into E3, they show the Zelda coverage, or they show the Zelda footage, and win a lot of Game of E3 awards. It blows people away. Then Pokemon Go happens, and it's kind of been really surprising that they've been that Nintendo has been this popular, really unconventionally, for about the last month.
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy at work, and I said, Nintendo does a lot of things wrong, and they have over the last at least 10 years, I think, especially when it comes to the Wii U and how, let's just be quite honest, as much as I think the Wii U is a great system that has some great first-party games, it just didn't pan out. It started bad, and it just got worse from there as far as marketing. It didn't work well. But I was talking to him, I said, but Nintendo, think about this. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One has been super entrenched, but what have we been talking about for the last 6 months? It's been Nintendo. I mean, well, I'm sorry, not the last 6 months, but the last 2 months, it's been Nintendo
Right.
because now you talked about Zelda, new Pokemon games coming out for 3DS, which is always huge, regardless of whether that platform's dead or not. They'll always buy Pokemon games for that. You got Pokemon Go. You've got the NX. You got the handheld whatever leak that came out as far as the new stuff that they're putting out and the patent for that. And then they said, you know what, we're just going to wait for March. And you got to think somewhere, in that corporate line, they's like, look, guys, we don't need to release a new system. We've got all this stuff coming out without even trying. I mean, really, they're not really trying. They haven't put anything out for the Wii U as far as big time games. They did do the Persona Fire Emblem crossover, which is getting some pretty good reviews. But other than that, they've been kind of quiet and not been talking. They hadn't talked about the NX at all. And you would think to keep kind of in the limelight, they would have to do that. They haven't done any of that. They've released an awesome app that everybody loves. Zelda, they released, we're just going to bring Zelda, and everybody said it was a bad idea, and it ended up being a good idea, and we're just going to keep this train rolling without really bringing out the big guns.
I could have, 6 months ago, maybe even a year ago, I could have seen Nintendo switching their business model to go into releasing some of these classic games on the handheld or the apps or whatever like that. That's the way I'd have went. They could have went on forever just doing that, putting it out on different systems. Maybe striking a deal with PlayStation or Xbox and releasing some games from the Super Nintendo on those systems. But one thing that we've never seen them do, they've never done a remake, really. I mean, you were just talking about how you love HD remakes. What if they took the original Zelda game and made it like a, 10-hour, remake and include it with the original game? Or the Mario Brothers, update the graphics to it, make it look like the one on the Wii or Wii U, and, just make it like the original with pretty much the same original levels and put the original one on there. There'd be people that would buy it just for that.
Yeah, and they're just now starting to tap into that HD remake thing because you had the Wind Waker HD, and then you had Twilight Princess that just came out recently for an HD remake. So they've tapped their toes into that. But I'm like you, Jared. I think they have a lot of, I don't know if you've guys seen this or not. It was a couple months ago, but they did like Legend of Zelda in the Unreal Engine, like Unreal Engine 3 or whatever. And they did Mario, like somebody did it in Mario too, and it was just absolutely amazing. Like it looked, fabulous. And you're right, Jared. I don't think that they, for lack of, the Virtual Console's a mess. It's been a mess since they started on the Wii. The interface is dumb. What controllers can you use? What controllers can't you use with it? It's kind of a mess, and that's where Nintendo, as far as the re-release, and that's where Sony and Xbox has really whipped their butts. I mean, they may not have those old Nintendo games, but they got like Mega Man, and they've got all those Capcom games. PlayStation Network or PlayStation Store is full of those old games, and Nintendo never really capitalized on it. They got the best library as far as what they can do, and they just don't do it, which parlays us into our next thing. Nintendo announced the Nintendo Classic Edition, which is a mini, basically it's a Raspberry Pi. Once somebody cracks this thing open, it'll be a Raspberry Pi with a nice little cute little mini shell of a Nintendo. This surprised me. I was stoked because you see those, $20 Sega systems that are crap. They don't reproduce the games very well. Music is terrible. But hey, there's 100 Sega Genesis games on there, and it sells like hotcakes because it's tapping into the, the nostalgia we always talk about. But Nintendo's doing it right. HDMI output. Guys, were you kind of surprised? I was shocked because this is something that I didn't think Nintendo would do. Nintendo doesn't do this. Like we talked about how bad it is that they use their their IPs. As far as old stuff, I was really shocked to see this on Polygon a couple mornings ago.
I was too. Actually, Robin texted me and she's like, "Have you seen this?" And I read the article and I got excited about it. Mm-hmm. The only downside, which I didn't realize at the time, is that there's not it. That's it. You can't add any more content to it. So that's the only negative. And like you were talking about the Sega ones and stuff like that, a lot of times they'll throw like the 3 Sonic games on there, and maybe a a Dr. Robotnik's machines game,
Bean Machine or whatever.
Mean Bean Machine, and they'll throw in maybe one or two more titles, but that's it. You don't get a lot of good games. On this, you get Metroid, both Zelda games, all three Mario games. Was Bubble Bobble on there,
Let's go
maybe?
over the list right quick. So we got Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Dr. Mario, Excitebike, Final Fantasy, Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Brothers, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, whichever one you want to say, Pac-Man, Punch-Out featuring Mr. Dream, Star Tropics, Super C, Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, Tecmo Bowl, The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2. So I was kind of some of the games I was kind of surprised to see Mega Man on there, Castlevania.
Metroid.
So I think this shows how much kind of care Nintendo took of it to be like, hey, Konami, we're going to go and get Castlevania 1 and 2. And some of these games aren't even on the Virtual Console yet. So they've kind of cherry picked some really good ones on there. But Jared, go ahead, continue. I just want to get the list.
Oh,
there.
I mean, it's a terrific list. I mean, just going and trying to buy those games to play on one of the new systems or on the Virtual Console, it's going to cost you $30, $40, $50.
Heck, trying to find these games physically is going to cost you $20 to $30.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so putting them all there in one place, I think it's wonderful. And I told Robin, I was like, I want it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to get it. Just because there's a lot of solid games, and they took out the password issue, so you can save your file and start, instead of having to remember this really long password, you can just start from at one point, which I love. So I'm really excited about it.
Daniel, what did you think about the announcement? Was you pretty stoked about it, or kind of hesitant considering how Nintendo kind of does things?
I was hesitant, I guess, because I think it's a cool idea. I think there's definitely a market for it. And to be honest, I might pick one up. I don't know yet. It's only like $60, isn't it? I mean, it's fairly cheap.
And extra controller is only $10, which is really shocking because controllers are ridiculous.
And the controller will work with the classic games on the Wii U and the Wii.
Yeah, the classic controllers for the Wii. Yeah, for the Wii and the Wii U. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess there was just some things that made me kind of like hesitant. I agree with you guys. The game list was really surprisingly good. The fact that it's got HDMI output is really nice. Can play it on new TVs, which obviously the original NES you can't do without some workarounds. But I guess I'm a little bit disappointed that it only gets these 30 games. That there's no way to. No plans to legally make it like upgradable. I'm sure. Yeah, somebody will break it, I'm sure. But I feel like, I guess I kind of feel like I've got that on my laptop now. You know what I mean? Like, I can download any ROM. Not legally, of course, but I can plug it into my TV.
We'll strike that from the podcast. So,
not that I condone that at all. But I can plug in my laptop to my TV and play whatever. So I think there's a market for it. I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm kind of half and half, I guess, because I see the downsides and I see what's already available. Does that make sense?
What I could see happening is they could find out that there is a big market for this, and then once that market, they see that, all these people want this, then they're like, all right, we're going to figure out a way to add more to it, or you can buy more later on. Maybe they'll release them in like batches of 10, 20, or 30, just like this one, later on, that you can add, here's Series 2 and 3 and 4. That would be awesome.
Well, somebody talked about that on another, I think it was a Giant Beastcast, I think. They talked about having like different colors and Volume 2s and Volume 3s, and the bad thing about it is, and this goes back to the way I feel about the PlayStation 4 Neo and stuff like that. If I bought one and you even have a thought about me uploading this thing, it sucks that I bought one and I can't do that, because from what I understand, the USB is only for power. There's no firmware updates. You can't run anything through it. So this is it. This is it. And just like Daniel said, there's going to be someone that breaks this and going to show you how, hey, you can turn this into the ultimate Nintendo emulation machine. Or like I do, I have a Retron 5. The only reason I would buy this is because it looks, it looks cool. I mean, it's a cool piece of Nintendo history because it's the first time Nintendo's ever done this, and it's a cool little thing you can put in your living room or whatever, or even in your kids' room, whatever. But I have a Retron 5 that can play all these great carts that I have, unlimited potential, and I can save and do all this. So this isn't unheard of as far as being save states, all that stuff. HDMI, the Retron 5 runs through the HDMI, but it has firmware updates. It has an unlimited library of old school games that you can get. Yeah, some of them, possibly can be a little bit expensive, but if you can find the classics, then you've got them, and you can continue to play. I was just really, Andrew, the first thing me and Andrew talked about when this was released was, wouldn't it be cool if you could take games off the Virtual Console, or if it had its own store? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little Wi-Fi piece in there and say, hey, we've got our own storefront that you can buy these classic games from, and you don't have to buy a Wii U. You don't have to buy an old Wii or whatever. And I just think they kind of missed the boat, just a little bit. It's really cool, and I'm glad it's HDMI, and I'm glad you can play it on modern TVs, because old games before the Retron 5 look terrible on new TVs just because they're not made for it. I'm glad it just seemed like they did so much right, and then in a classic Nintendo way, they missed something different. They really could have went the whole way with this.
You're exactly right. It's like they just didn't go far enough. They just did not go as far as they could have, and it's like. It's like, well, we want to make a lot of money, but not too much money.
You never know. They could have just been testing the waters with it to see what response they get, and then
that's true.
After all this positive stuff comes out and people start buying these things up, they could be like, well, we can make even more money off it. Who needs a new system when you can just do this over and over again?
Well, I think that obviously, if this gets you're probably going to see a Super Nintendo one at this point. You're probably going to see you can go all the way up to an N64 and emulate pretty easily. Now, when you get into GameCube, it gets a little bit hairy, but you're looking at emulation, which is what this is. It's emulation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's what it is. It's it's a Raspberry Pi Nintendo emulation system. I'll be surprised to see who cracks it first and see if Nintendo's put something in there to cause it not to be cracked. We'll see. I don't know if they did that or not, but I just feel like it's like running a marathon, and you're winning, and you just stop. You stop at the finish line, and you're like, bring me a ham sandwich. I'm done. Like, I'm not going to finish the race. I did really well. I could win this thing, but I'll let somebody else win. It's just Nintendo, man, and I love them. I love Nintendo. I've argued so many times, we need Nintendo as much as I love my PS4 and as much as I love my Xbox 360 back in the day. I don't want Call of Duty and Monster Energy drinks to take over gaming. Like, I want Nintendo here because they offer something different. They just go finish it out, man. Let me continue to, because I would have, to be quite honest, I maybe would have bought this if it allowed me to download stuff. It's neat. I think it's cool, and I'm not a huge Nintendo fan. I don't have a lot of Nintendo carts. But there, I probably would have spent more money to get those games on there.
It's like if Marvel were to go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and finish these movies we've started, but then we're going to stop. We've made enough of billions of dollars that we don't need anymore. We're just going to lay back for a little while. So
that's exactly what it is, though. Who else does this? Like, no, we talked about Hollywood. Hollywood runs crap in the ground that don't even make money, and then you got Nintendo that has basically a money printing Nintendo, a mini Nintendo that can double as their ATM, and they just stop. They just stop. It's just, oh man, it's mind-numbing to me. It's just, I don't know. Come on, Miyamoto, you're smarter than this. Oh man, I'm going to rant mode here in a minute. I'm gonna turn to Joe here in a minute. All right, so let's move on from Nintendo. We love you, Nintendo, and we really hope you continue to make money. And the NX is super awesome because that's what we want. We need a Nintendo system. Just moving around here. Just some little bits of news in there. I'm gonna skip that one because I don't think that was gonna make much difference. Let's talk about Batman for a second. Batman. Some good news, some bad news. Good news is that. And I'll let Daniel explain this because I didn't read it right, and he read it right because he's a lawyer and he reads stuff like that. And he has better understanding of the of the human language than I do apparently. Batman: The Telltale series will be available in physical form a month after the digital game is released. And Daniel, explain what that means.
So basically, apparently, what that means is that the digital version of the first episode. Like all Telltale games, this is going to be episodic, at least probably 5 to 6 episodes. So after the first episode of the digital game is released on PlayStation Store, PC, Xbox, all that, a month after that, they'll release a retail copy. Now the issue is that the retail copy is just the first season or the first episode on a disc. And what they're going to give you is basically the license or the season pass to download each subsequent episode. So the disc that you're buying is still just the first episode, but you'll get a license to download each one. So it's kind of like a good news, bad news. I mean, I'd rather wait that they just wait. I'd rather they just wait personally. But I mean, what's the value in buying the physical game? If you like, you can't sell it because it's just going to be the first episode to anyone that you sell it to. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I mean I put this in the good category because you're getting something physical out of it. Because most Telltale games are downloaded and they release them all on. But I mean, Jared, you got to think that this will be released when it's all done as a physical form, just like they did with The Walking Dead, the Game of the Year edition and all that good stuff. I mean, they can't do this. Nah, this is it. You're just gonna have to download it. They have to release a full physical game, right?
And they've done that with every game since The Walking Dead. So with all their games. So yeah, I'm sure they're going to do it here too.
Unless you're Nintendo and you don't finish stuff. But go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that point too. They had done it with The Walking Dead, and I'm sure they'll do it eventually with the others. I don't know why you release just the first episode on a disc. I mean, that makes no sense. Unless you're trying to double dip, maybe. You're going to get fans that want to download it, and then they're like, well, I want a digital, or I want the physical copy as well.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So, other than that, I don't really see a point in it. But
I mean, here's my problem. I mean, the reason that you have a physical disc, I mean, you would think the reason you have a physical disc is to give to people who either want it all at one time, or they don't have the internet to download it, right? So,
right.
So you're giving them a physical disc, and you're telling them, go download the rest, by the way. I mean, you're missing the two parts of that market. You're not getting it all at once.
And that may be the biggest troll move in the history of video games. It's like, I want to give you a disc. It's going to be really cool, because this game's probably going to be really cool. And they're like, oh, man, I got to have the internet? What? I can't. Where I have slow internet, it takes me 4 weeks to download the rest of the What? No. Oh, come on, WB.
That's like any game, I think, that requires you to have a subscription to the network, like the what was it? Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. I downloaded that and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's something me and Lucy, I can try to get her into playing or something, and she really enjoyed it because at first we were sitting there and you just kind of wander around and do this stuff, and I was like, well, this is kind of neat, and then it was like, it's finished downloading, so you can go ahead. And like I clicked OK to start the game, and it's like, oh, you have to have a subscription to PlayStation Network. And I was like, I'm not going to pay $50 just to play this one game. I was like, I don't play online anyway, so it's just sitting on my PS4, not doing anything. I did get it for free, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they release this in like a big box set or something really cool, like a Batman statue or something. Right, Daniel?
Yeah.
Which you'll get more of that next
week
once I get the ending I have to do. But yeah, so I thought, I think they'll probably release it. I'm with Jared, maybe to kind of get people in that don't necessarily know this is going to be a digital game, and be like, hey, you got the rest of them now, you just got to figure out how to download it. If you can't, then sorry, but you're kind of out of luck there. But I guess WB is hedging their bets that people kind of know what they do, and these games can be released on the internet. And I'm sure there's one guy that'll write on a forum like, I didn't know that this had to have the internet or whatever. But that's few and far between. And I know everywhere else in the world has a hard time getting the internet. And I know in the United States, we're spoiled when it comes to online stuff. But I'm sure there's somebody that won't realize that it's internet. That it's online only or whatever. The good news, or no, that's not the good news. The bad news for WB is that their Batman Return to Arkham, which will collect all three or the first two Arkham games, won't launch till November, and that sucks. I actually went and traded my PS3 Game of the Year editions in when it was supposed to be out this month, and now I'm going to have to wait till November. WB minus. I mean, I thought Arkham Knight was really good. It was actually my Game of the Year last year. I thought it was really good. I thought it capped off the whole series. There were some things in there that I didn't like. I thought they threw too many, villain tops at you or thug tops at you and kind of broke the flow a little bit when they didn't have to. But I thought it was a good game, really nice game, definitely worth the wait as far as delays. But WB and Batman games, you look at the PC debacle, and then you look at this, and you kind of wonder if this game's going to come out broken at this point. If they can't hit the first one and they backed it up about 3 months, and even the story I read that at least until November, which could mean that it could be even further away. Guys, I mean, I'm disappointed with this because I love these games. How disappointed were you with the pushback?
I didn't even. Yeah, go ahead.
Personally, I didn't play any of the Batman games.
Dang.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you that, but I feel for you. I definitely feel for you. That's about all I can. That's about all I can tell you.
I did play. I played 3 of the 4, but I don't really care about the re-release or the HD upgrade or whatever you want to call them. I like the first one, but I don't know how much I would replay it.
The first one would probably be the one that would be hard for me to replay because I think Arkham City is probably the perfect Batman game. Like I loved Arkham Knight, but Arkham City was really good.
Yeah, Arkham City, you really had that open world to it. Arkham or whatever the first one was, Arkham Asylum. It was kind of more restrictive. There was some openness to it, but not like Arkham City. It was an amazing open world game. But there's a lot of hours of gameplay to put in through that too, and I just at this point in my life I don't know if I have the time to sit down and start going through that again.
It's one of the few games that I have considered trying to get platinums and stuff at because I did really enjoy the game, and as a comic book fan, there's a lot of little comic nuggets and stuff in there that I really like to kind of find, But yeah, I was disappointed because I was really looking forward to them. I'm all on the HD release, which would be completely opposite of what you would think I would want. But I think it's great, especially when you get 2 games on one disc. You get 2 really good games, and it's going to look better, possibly play better. I think they both played really well, so I hope I don't screw that up. But I was just disappointed. I was really looking forward to it, and would definitely paid the $49 or $39 or whatever it was supposed to be. So hopefully it's good. I want it to be good. I'm all for delays if it makes the game good, but WB has shown minus Arkham Knight that they can't seem to get it right when it comes to other things. So.
And this is the first 2 games, right?
Yeah, first 2 games. So Daniel, now you have a chance to play it. So you gotta play these games, man. Come on now.
Well,
if I can finally play Persona 4, you can at least play the Batman games.
Well, that's true. The thing is, I own them both. I own them both for PS3. I think I own the Game of the Year editions. But I've never touched them. I never touched them. I don't have time.
Good friends. I have games I've never touched in here too, so I can't pile on you too much. Jared tells me all the time. He goes, "How you gonna play all those games?"
You know what? I do not have games that I've never touched.
Oh.
I refuse to.
You want to go help Joe build his PC now?
Maybe. I refuse to allow or put in $60 or something and not play a game. Or I've got Blu-rays that I haven't watched. I've watched the movie but have not went back and watched the Blu-ray for some reason, but I don't know about putting the money into a game and not playing it.
Well, I will say I don't think I've ever bought a full retail release and not played it. So I've never bought one new and not played it. Like both the Batman games I'm pretty sure I got for like $15.
Yeah.
Or like when they were trying to get rid of them. So I've got several games like that. And I'm like, oh, hey, that's cool. It's that's a price that I'll pick up and maybe play maybe play in a couple of weeks, and then I don't. But like any game that I buy new, I'm gonna play. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've gotten a rut where I bought too many new games way back years ago. But most of the games I buy new, I'm gonna play. A lot of the PS3 games I own now, I've got for dirt cheap, much less than what they came out with. So. I'm okay with it. Even some of the PS4 games I've picked up on sale. I've learned that from Jared. Jared has finally, knocked into my head about just wait, dude, just wait. If you don't really excited about it, just wait for it. I was like,
If you wait long enough, the price always drops. I mean,
know.
I love
Unless they're
Fallout.
Nintendo games. See, Nintendo, they don't drop their prices, Jared. So
Well, now, like I love Fallout, but I have yet to buy Fallout 4. I'm waiting for it to hit like the $20 mark, and then I'll pick it up. After
I don't
everybody
know if
else.
that game will ever hit the $20 mark. You may get it for the $30 mark. There's a lot of stuff to do in that game.
Now it's I think on Prime Day, which I did get an amazing purchase on Prime Day, and almost bought another one, but I didn't. But I did see it. I think it was $27 or something like
Sounds
that,
about right.
or maybe
Getting close.
25. But it was right above. I was like, if it drops below 25, I'll pick it up. But it didn't go below 25, so I was like, nope.
You have a lot more willpower than I do, Jared.
I'm very cautious with my money. I get so little of it that I have to stretch it and make it last.
All right, enough of Batman. Batman's had a rough go of it the last week. Let's move on to one of our, not necessarily main topic, this is a topic I want to bring up. And then we'll kind of end it on this. There wasn't a lot of big news. I don't think none of us play Overwatch. Andrew was here. They released a new character named Ana. I don't know anything about the game. Andrew's not here to talk about it, so we'll just kind of skip over. But all you Overwatch guys, go pick up. It's in beta or something as far as the new character goes. So 14, Polygon had a really good article up about the development history of Starcraft Ghost. I don't know if you guys got a chance to read. It's a really good article, and I love reading articles about like of games that maybe didn't come out, or maybe really that games became legends. Like I read a really good one, an oral history of Street Fighter 2 that they put out, or Kotaku put out. That was really cool, and kind of the rise of that game and what it kind of ultimately became. Well, this is the opposite. This is a game that I can remember reading about in Game Informer, and when there was actually game publications, kind of out there. That GameStop didn't own, and the game looked really cool. I was never, a Blizzard fan. Like I never played StarCraft. So, but this game started out and just it started out as like a stealth game, and then went an action game, and it was action stealth game, and it was multiplayer, and just the article. I mean, I don't know how somebody worked on this. It was so crazy, the development cycle. And it just gives you more of an appreciation of things that, sometimes, and even the guy said, I can't remember the name, but the guy that kind of headed up the project, he was like, we were a small studio, and he said, sometimes the lessons you learn is not how many games you produce, but what you've worked on and what you've got through. And it was just a really weird, kind of really good insight on what happens when things start good and they kind of go bad. But it started kind of me thinking, and wanted to ask you guys, and we'll end on this subject tonight, but what game that maybe was in development for a while or was announced and then dropped, relatively quickly, that really, once you heard it was canceled, you were really super disappointed about it? Jared, we'll start with you. What game was possibly you saw, or maybe there was even some gameplay out there that years down the line just never panned out?
You know what? I couldn't think of one right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's been several that I've heard about, but I was actually watching a video, I think over this last week, and it had 10 wrestling games like you didn't know existed or whatever. And to me, two of the greatest wrestling games ever were WWE 2000 and WWE No Mercy on 64. And I didn't know it, but there was a WWE Backlash game that was 30% finished before they pulled the plug on it. And I was like, No Mercy was like the perfect wrestling game. And then to know that they were, going forward and making another one, I couldn't imagine how the improvements, because the storyline mode was incredible, and I don't know a person who's ever had a bad review of it. So I heard about that, and I was a little sad.
He started weeping his computer.
You're making me sad.
Yeah,
You're making me sad.
I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, you remember what was it when me and Robin moved from the apartment to the house that we were renting, and the first thing we did was hook up the 64 and start playing WWE 2000 and Royal Rumble. It was like 5 of us sitting there playing. I was like, and now to know that there was going to be a Backlash game, I was like, I was so disappointed.
Did they give a reasoning why they quit, or I guess they went on
Because
to make SmackDown or whatever?
it moved on. Yep, because I think I don't know if they ever gave a good reason, but I think
Because that would have had to been near the tail end of the
it
64,
was it
right?
was at the end of the life
Okay,
cycle.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, and which is disappointing because I was like, man, if they would have put that game out at the end of the life cycle, then I bet it would be like a collector's edition now. You know how like the
I'm
DuckTales
sure.
game
Low
yeah,
print run.
yep,
Yep.
yep.
Man, that's disappointing. I wish you would have said that.
Way to
That does
bring it
upset me
down.
because No Mercy. Like look, I mean, you can't see it on the stream, but it's right here. I got it on the shelf right here. One of the best games ever, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not a big N64 fan, but that's one of my favorite games of all time. Because it's really, really good. I'm more of a No Mercy. I like WrestleMania 2000, but I feel like No Mercy is probably the perfect wrestling game of that
Yeah,
era.
I mean, every time they made it, they kind of learned. They
Yep.
added some. 2000 was good, but then No Mercy had this incredible storyline mode, and it just was unmatched. At the time, you had the entrances, and they had the belts that they would actually come out with and stuff like that, and it makes me want to pull out the 64 and start playing.
Daniel, what game kind of disappointed you once you kind of found out about it and it was kind of done away with before it got out?
I had to think about this one for a while, and I looked up like several lists and tried to get some ideas as to what really disappointed me, and I was surprised to find that there wasn't much that's. I mean, I didn't really have anything that did until I started thinking about Silent Hills,
Mm.
and which I realize is kind of hurting maybe my retro nerd cred because it was just like a year or two ago, but I mean, I know most of our listeners know what Silent Hills is, but Kojima and Guillermo del Toro were going to put together a horror game. They made this great teaser that they released at E3 that is just,
That's
I mean,
scary.
it is scary. Like, I didn't even get to actually play it. I just watched YouTube streams of it, and it is
Yep,
terrifying.
yep, I
Um,
did too.
and so like I never liked Silent Hill. I just never got into it, never really played it. But like that game, that trailer, the people involved made me be like really, really excited. And to just see that whole relationship between Kojima and Konami just fall apart, and to see this game get canceled before it ever could get started, and then to see them take that teaser off the PlayStation store, like so no one can ever play it again unless it's already on your system, and it just really sucked. And so
And not to mention
that's
what everything Konami did. I just saw that they released the first Metal Gear Solid pachinko machine, and I felt like the whole
right.
internet just started crying. like
Yes.
my laptop started tears just started pouring out of the screen. So and then not only you talk about pulling on, then what Konami's done even just to twist the knife even more makes it even worse.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was the one that I thought of that that one hurt. That's a game that I would have. I mean, even if it's not a game that was necessarily my type of game, a horror game, not necessarily my type of game, but that game had the potential to be great and to be enjoyed by a whole lot of people.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's when Joe laments his win. Like he saw that he downloaded it right off, and he was like, I just Guillermo del Toro and all these guys together, and it's just Hideo and all those guys, and I was just so disappointed once it got pulled off. So I'm sure all those people that sold their PlayStation 4s for like $1,000 with it still on it is happy, but and it's not my type of game, but it was. Man, I would like to saw with that win, especially with the talent behind it. I think it would have been awesome.
Hmm.
Jared, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was thinking there was a game. One, I don't even know the name of it. I just remember seeing the footage at E3. I think it was the same one that when Fallout 3 first came out, back when G4, because we used to watch that channel religiously.
Mhm.
Um, and there was a game, and it was Vikings. I think it was Vikings, or it was a medieval game, and it had a almost like a real life warfare to where like if somebody hit you in the arm, you could start to lose functionality in that arm and stuff like that. And I always thought that was the best idea. Nobody's done that. Even the Fallout games, you can get shot 30 times before uh, you start losing, or they blow off the part, and then they're dead or whatever. But I was like, man, that is so great that you can lose functionality in that and still fight, but you can kind of wait and heal yourself before you use it again. And I thought that was so different at the time, but for some reason, I don't know, it just got canceled and never come about. But I remember it being at E3, and I was really excited about it.
One of the ones, and let me comment about the kind of the retro scene in the older games. I mean, a lot of those older games, there was a reason they weren't released, and you can find some of those ROM dumps and stuff like that. People make like repro carts, and there's a Shadowhawk one that ended up getting sued by Jim Valentino, which is the creator of that was a Super Nintendo game for Shadowhawk, which was an old Image Comics character, and the game looked terrible. Most of those games they didn't get released. The big thing with retro games, and I'm not gonna go on a tangent here, but there's a lot of games in Japan that got released, like Super Back to the Future 2. Awesome game, never got over here. And that's more of the story for retro stuff, not necessarily the unreleased stuff, even though that's cool. It's the stuff that never got over here that was released in Japan, which is kind of disappointing. But mine, and if anybody knows me, they know exactly what I want to say. Mega Man Legends 3. It was on the they was going to release it on the 3DS or the DS. I can't remember which one. It was announced, and I was at work, and I was like, yeah, man, I want to get me a DS. I want to play Mega Man Legends 3. And about 6 months later, it was gone. And the sad thing, we talked about, PT, it had a working demo, like it had a working game mode, and basically Capcom wanted like feedback and stuff off the demo, and and I think a lot of it, from what I understand about Japanese culture, especially game design, is that if you make somebody mad, they kind of hold it against you. And when Inafune left Capcom after he pretty much said I'm tired of doing sequels, I want to do, Capcom doesn't do original IPs anymore. We're just, making money off sequels. And he left. A lot of the Mega Man stuff went away. Like, they just stopped releasing stuff. And I think a lot of it was because Capcom was trying to, stab Inafune just right in the gut. And they never did anything with Mega Man. You had some re-releases recently with the collection and stuff. That's really all they've done. They did 9 and 10 way back. Then they, like I said, the collection releases, the stuff off the virtual consoles. It kind of sucked for me. I love Mega Man Legends. It's probably my favorite game of all time, bar none. I played that game. I say it's probably an 8 or 9 hour game. I probably got 16 hours out of it. That's how much I played it. Almost double the time. So that was the one I was super, super, super disappointed with. It's a great series. I don't think we'll ever see it again. I always joke in my E3 piece, it's like, my most anticipated Mega Man Legends 3. And I've done it for the last couple years, and it's, it kills me inside just a little bit more every E3 it goes by, and I don't get to see it. So that was my disappointment. There's also one, Jared, I don't know if you saw the Daredevil for the PlayStation 2. Had ads and everything.
Oh, I do remember that.
That game looked awesome. Had a lot of things like you had his senses that you could do, and you could see through walls, like breathing and stuff like that. It was pretty neat.
Did it run off of? It came out about the same time the Spider-Man game came out.
It did, and they was going to use kind of the same engine.
The same
engine.
Yep.
Yep. And there's a video on there, and I'll have to shoot you the link for it, but it goes through all the stuff that went through it, and a lot of it had to do with PlayStation. Like, PlayStation apparently had a lot of pull as far as what kind of game they wanted it to be, and Marvel wanted it to be one thing, and Sony wanted it to be the other, and it pretty much tore apart the studio. Like, it was really bad.
I remember that now, and I think I watched, there's a YouTube video on, off Watch Mojo or one of the sites that they do all the lists, and they had canceled games, and I remember seeing that on there, which basically kind of turned out what Arkham Asylum is.
Yeah,
in the
it had a lot of that in it, and I wonder if there was some people that was part of that into that development crew or whatever, but it was very much like Arkham Knight before Arkham Knight. It was very much like that, and not as heartbroken as I can remember opening the comic, like, oh, there's a new Daredevil game coming out, and it never materialized. But Mega Man Legends 3 continues to break my heart. So, dear Capcom, come on, man, come on, just for me, just do me a personal favor, okay? I love Capcom games, played them for years, man. I love you guys. Give me a Mega Man Legends 3, okay? Just for me. Send it to me. And I won't say anything. I won't, do anything. Just send it to me, okay, man? All right? Thanks, Capcom. Appreciate it. All right. that's it for this week. So I hope you guys liked the video game thing. Not a ton of news in video game this week. Obviously, Nintendo kind of dominated it. So, we're just going to touch on the key stuff here. But yeah, Jared, you got anything to say before we head out?
No, I'm just hope to make it through another week. I enjoy, enjoy the weekend and hopefully get to play some more Tiger Woods, or maybe I'll try to get into a different game or something like that. What's going to be next week, Aaron?
Next week will probably be movies and TV.
Okay, because I've watched, believe it or not, I've watched quite a bit of movies and TV, so I can.
Well, I'm like you. I'm going to have to scramble to kind of see what I can watch so I can be relevant to the conversation next week. So.
Well, let me go ahead and tell you. I know you're not a big horror fan, but if you're a fan of the X-Files or maybe something like the Goonies, which is
that's a leap, man.
It is, but I mean, it's kind of like a teen adventure because it involves a bunch of little kids, but it is scary as crap. Go watch Stranger Things, the series on Netflix, because like after the first first 10 minutes, I was like, "Yep, I gotta watch this now." So, and I've already watched the first 5 episodes. Then they go by pretty quick. Very interesting.
I'll have to check that out too.
Yeah, just go watch the trailer and see if it's your type of thing. You'll know right off. It's not overly scary where you're like, I gotta watch this in the daylight to walk to bed. I know how Aaron gets sometimes. Playing the scary.
There's a reason I didn't play PT. Okay.
So, but as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, man, this looks awesome. So check it out.
Very cool. So I'm probably sure we'll talk about that a lot next week. Daniel, anything you gotta say before we leave?
Yeah. Update from last week. I did get my copy of Zero Time Dilemma. Finally, no watch yet. They're supposedly going to send it later, but
so Daniel's been late to everything this week. Darn it.
So hopefully, so now that I've finished off Valkyria Chronicles. Now I'm going to really start playing Zero Time Dilemma. So hopefully I'll be able to tell you about it next time we have a gaming podcast. So
awesome. All right. Well, if you guys have I would love to do a Q&A episode because I think we're all pretty interesting guys. I mean, we're taking over the internet at this point. So if you have a question, just email us. I'll try to do a new email, but at this point, just it's at monstersofgeek@gmail.com. Just put Q&A, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions and hopefully give you an answer you like. If not, then you'll unsubscribe or whatever. But just give us an email. We'd love to start doing that. Something that I think is really cool. That's it. Go check out the pod. I swear this week we'll have some stuff up. I've been a bad editor. I've fallen behind with some stuff. But we'll have some stuff up on the website this week. Actually, we'll probably have 3 pieces up this week from Jared and Daniel, and I've got one from Jenna. So we'll put that up there this week. But yeah, go visit the site, monstersofgeek.com. Just renewed it for another year on WordPress, so we'll see what the next year holds for us. So, all right. For Jared and Daniel, and I'm your editor-in-chief, Aaron, and we're out.